Introducing my favorite camera function to play around with, and that is shutter speed. So shutter speed. Let's take a look, because to understand shutter speed, you need to understand the measuring system of the shutter speed. So with shutter speed, it is the speed in which the shutter stays open or closes. Now, as we are getting into the bigger numbers over here, the 8,000, 4,000, 2,000, 1,000, those are faster shutters. And what that actually means is the shutter is open for only 1/8,000th of a second. And then over here, it's 1/4,000th of a second. Then 1/2,000th of a second, followed by 1/1,000th of a second, and so on and so on and so on. So these are really fast shutters. These can freeze objects in motion, but the downfall is because it's so fast, it lets in less light into our camera. What can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing, depending on what you're photographing. Now, as we get over to the right side of our measuring system, now followed by the 1, 2, 4, 8, 15, 30, those indicate full seconds. So 1 second, 2 seconds, 4 seconds, 8 seconds, 15 seconds, and 30 seconds, which means the shutter is open for a longer period of time. What that does to your pictures is it blurs the motion. And because the shutter is open for a longer period of time, it opens up and it lets in more light into the camera. So let's see what it does to photos. So this first photo is shot in 4,000 or 1/4,000th of a second. And this can freeze super fast objects like hummingbird wings. Those are moving so fast. But you can freeze them in perfect stillness around 1/4,000th of a second. As we get into 1/2,000th of a second or 2,000, that can freeze water or large animals in motion to see them, not those smaller animals. The smaller animals, you'll want to be higher up. 1/1000th of a second is great for freezing humans in motion. I'm a runner, so I always use my shutter speed generally of 1/1000th of a second, unless I have like Usain Bolt that I'm trying to capture coming out of the starting blocks. Then I might bump up my shutter speed. 1/5000th or 500th of a second is the slowest you really want to go to capture human motion. Dancers are a great example where they kind of hold that pose for a slightly longer period of time. But really, anything that you're trying to freeze in motion, this is the lowest setting you should go. Because as we start getting into 1/250th of a second, it's going to start blurring the object that is in motion, as you can see here with the blurs coming down. So this is a fast shutter speed, but it's on the slower side of the fast shutter speed, which some people may want to try to capture this blurry look. Some people may want to avoid it. So these are all considered fast shutter speeds from 1/8000th of a second all the way down to 1/250 of a second. As we start getting into this middle area, this is generally a normal shutter speed. 1/25th of a second is a great general shutter speed to keep your camera at. That it can freeze slow moving objects, capture them for the most part. It's a good middle ground. 1/60th of a second is great for like casual, candid photographs of people slowly walking around. And this shutter speed, you can hold the camera. But as we get to this section right here, It's a slower shutter speed, meaning your camera is open for a longer period of time. And if you move at all, you blur your photograph. So generally you want to use a tripod when you're using these settings, and especially when you get into the full seconds right here on the right side. So 1/8 of a second, start using a tripod because there's room for error unless you have an extremely steady hand, which even I blur at this area. At 1 second, you can start to show the misty foam of water moving. Makes for a really interesting photograph, but now we're starting to get into the slow shutter speeds. 2 seconds can be used to capture fireworks. You can also kind of capture the blur that's worked in as well, and it depends on how fast the fireworks are going. But 4 seconds are great for capturing light that naturally our eyes do not pick up on. Like in a sunset or a sunrise, we see those beautiful colors, and this is a great setting to really capture those colors. 8 seconds can be used to capture city lights and reflected city lights at night. And then 15 seconds can be used to capture stars and light pollution and really show dark, what we would perceive as dark times, like at night, showing the light that is there. 30 seconds are so fun photographs to use because then you can start doing light paintings where you can draw with light and it captures everything that you have moved around. So where we can find shutter speed, if you're using a point and shoot camera, night mode allows for a longer shutter speed, so your shutter is open for a longer period of time. Sports mode is for a shorter shutter speed to capture moving objects, so fast shutter speed. On a DSLR camera, where you find that on a Nikon, it's labeled super easy peasy S for shutter speed. On a Canon, it's TV. But also when you're scrolling through those settings, it will tell you on the monitor what the settings stand for. But it's TV for Canon and S for Nikon.